Bruce Springsteen has recently been brought up in media regarding his relation to Jeffrey Epstein and a bunch of crimes that he did to young children. Now, this one hits home a little bit because Bruce Springsteen is from my area and he was a huge star that was really loved by so many people. So I want to dive into this story today and see if it has any credibility. At the end of the day, that's what we do here. We look at stories on the internet, give our insight, and see if there's any truth behind the claims. I appreciate you guys subscribing to the channel. I'm here with my morning coffee and I'm about to dive into this one. Let me know what you're drinking. Now let's have a look.
While everybody was distracted by the White House correspondent's dinner shooting and Iran, Bruce Springsteen was credibly accused of abusing dozens of young girls during his historic East Berlin concert tour in 1988. The victims claim that Springsteen, since revealed to be a close associate of Jeffrey Epstein, joined a VIP delegation to East Berlin before it came down in the late 80s.
1988, so we are going way back in time for this one. We're like 30 years ago diving back with this Epstein connection, way before when Epstein started getting accused of things and spending time in jail.
And their main interest wasn't Cold War diplomacy, it was children. But rather than reporting on the credible allegations coming out of Europe against Springsteen and a host of VIPs, the media have done everything they can to cover up the scandal, bury the allegations, and ensure the global child trafficking network, which is worth hundreds of billions of dollars per year, remains an open secret. We've known for months that Bruce Springsteen appeared hundreds of times in the Epstein files. The fully searchable Epstein database reveals he attended numerous private dinner parties with Epstein's closest associates, including Peggy Siegel, which is a red flag in itself. But when you cross-reference the emails with the confirmed dates, it becomes clear he was present in at least 2 private dinner parties in Europe, events attended by Tom Hanks and Bono, where we now know that human meat was on the menu.
Okay, so claiming that the menu was not one that is legal, I guess the best way we could say this, was that actually confirmed though? That I'm not sure. So they're making claims that Bono ate African meat at a Hollywood sea feast on a super yacht. That's interesting. And this is actually an article from not long ago being dated March 8th, 2026.
We probably should have been tipped off by his close friendship with Barack Obama, the former president who flew $65,000 worth of hot dogs and pizzas across state lines for a private party at the White House. No wonder Springsteen was awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom by Obama, with a rogues gallery of other sexual terrorists.
Ellen DeGeneres, okay. These are all faces that we've seen here before. That one I don't know. How many of these are familiar to you that you've seen in discussion with the Epstein files? I feel like at this point, you don't want to be seen getting one of those medals, because when you see all the people that were getting those medals, it's just a group that you don't want to be tied up around.
If you still can't see the pattern at this stage, you don't just need glasses, you need a lobotomy. The elite have been openly mocking us for years, committing their crimes in broad daylight and daring us to say a word. Springsteen is no exception.
What's going on with that song, that Bruce Springsteen song, where he goes, hey, little girl, is your daddy home? Did he go and leave you all alone?
Wow, okay. The context there on that song right now is a bit strange with the current day's findings.
That's all I say. All I say is, why am I hearing this in a Chipotle? Like, that's not an appropriate thing to hear at the dentist.
It's not.
When they were recording it in the 70s, no one on the other side of the glass, when he was just like, is your daddy home? No one was like... I lean in on the mic and he's like, Bruce?
Yeah.
It's weird, man.
Yeah.
He's like, no, hear me out. I got a bad desire.
I forgot that that's where it goes.
Dude, it's not...
It's not good.
It's everywhere. There's that Neil Diamond song. We love it. You hear it at Disneyland. Girl, you'll be a woman soon.
There are plenty more examples. How about Gary Puckett and Union Gap serenading a girl he describes as much too young?
I'm telling you, if we could do a whole segment on going back to music from the 70s and from the 80s, dissecting the actual context of the script of that music, and see that they talk about a lot of things that are just not okay today. Same thing with old television and old movies. The times have changed, and a lot of the things that were said back then are no longer acceptable. Plus, a lot of the things, even deeper, that were said back then were giving hints to a lot of the crimes that are going on now.
Telling her she better run for her life because his love for her is way out of line.
Wow, he's actually saying, young girl, I'm way out of line.
And if you think it couldn't get any more in your face or shameless, you're dead wrong. We're living in times when the elite are committing their crimes out in the open. Just ask Mark Wahlberg, who told his church congregation about a Hollywood party he attended when he was young, which featured Barack Obama and his friend Bruce Springsteen indulging in baby's blood in wine glasses.
By the way, Mark Wahlberg, one of my favorites. I liked him back in the day when he was Marky Mark in the Funky Bunch. I liked him as an actor. I just think he's great.
I remember thinking it was some kind of joke or weird art thing at first, Wahlberg said. But no one was laughing. It was treated as normal, like it was just another toast. If you still believe that adrenochrome is just some wild conspiracy theory, it's time you learned real history. Not the sanitized garbage in textbooks written by professional gatekeepers. And not the polished propaganda they push on the History Channel. Here's a declassified CIA training video from 1955, which proves government experimentation.
And furthermore, we are continuing our experimental work with hallucinogenic drugs, such as mescaline, cannabis, adrenochrome, etc.
This is the kind of history they've spent decades hiding from you. Take Bruce Springsteen's trip to East Berlin. Most people think he went there as some noble hero trying to bring the wall down. In reality, he went for the exact same reason so many other VIP elites did. East Berlin was the Ukraine of its time, a protected elite playground, a global hub for child trafficking where the normal rules didn't apply, and the worst crimes were committed with total impunity. We're about to drop damning testimony that ties Bruce Springsteen to dozens of rapes and disappearances. The dangerous information the media is working overtime to bury. The Epstein files have now linked him directly to Epstein's inner circle, specifically the cannibal crew of Bono, Tom Hanks, and Leonardo DiCaprio.
Back in 1981, on the European leg of the River Tour, Bruce played a concert in West Berlin, on the west side of the divided German Republic. East Germans could not attend the concert due to political issues. During the tour of the city the day before, Steven Van Zandt seemed very moved by the cold brutality of the Berlin Wall. This experience would lead to him leaving the band in 1984 to further pursue his solo career, focusing on social and political activism.
88 years ago.
7 years later, in East Germany, the youth had become restless. They were starting to rebel against their country's separation and hard, Marxist-Leninist rule. The Free German Youth Organization attempted to relive some tension by bringing in the biggest Western musicians to play in their communist state. The government, afraid of an uprising in an already irritated society, agreed to have the biggest star in the world at that time, and importantly, not a Reagan supporter, Bruce Springsteen, play in their communist state as a way of appeasing their people. Before that, he was examined by the Stasi, the secret police and intelligence agency. According to the released files, 20,000 tickets alone were to be distributed to the partners of the cooperation. In East Germany, Bruce was a representation of an honest, hard-working man, and born in the USA, was very popular among the youth. Also, there was a myth of him supporting Sandinistas in Nicaragua.
The Sandinista rule is a communist reign of terror.
And he wasn't a Reagan supporter. Bruce Springsteen seemed like a perfect choice for the event and a way of appeasing the people. However, their plan backfired.
Springsteen is the perfect example of a globalist sellout.
I'll tell you what, hearing Reagan speak right there. Now, Reagan is, from the 80s. I was a kid back then. All politicians, when they talk about terror and when they talk about war, they all sound the same. Doesn't matter if they're a Democrat or Republican. It's like the message that's being sent is one that's trying to scare us as Americans, or to scare us into believing that what they're doing is the right thing to do, one way or the other, whether you believe that or not.
More concerned with raising money to fund the CIA cutouts known as USAID, and the chaos and destabilization the globalists are committed to ushering in around the world. But that's the public image. According to an Epstein victim, a woman still waiting for her day in Congress and still living in fear for her life, Bruce Springsteen routinely travelled to Europe to indulge in his fantasies. Fantasies far darker than most people's worst nightmares. The only reason he wasn't arrested after the carnage of his 1988 visit was that the communist regime refused to request his extradition from America. And when the wall came down, the records were conveniently discarded, and everybody was given a clean slate.
I was trapped into Jeffrey Epstein's world when I was 17. That's where I first heard about him. The rock star they called the Reaper in private, Bruce Springsteen. In those circles, his reputation was legendary. He didn't go to Eastern Europe for the applause or the history. He went there because it was a slaughterhouse with no rules. Communist bloc countries in the late 80s and 90s were perfect. Open human trafficking pipelines, corrupt police, and zero chance of extradition. A rich Western celebrity could do whatever sick shit he wanted, and no one would stop him. He didn't just those kids, he devoured them. The man has freakishly powerful jaws and teeth, and he uses them like an animal. He tore into their flesh while they were still screaming. Dozens, maybe over 100, vanished because of him in the late 80s.
Do you believe this? Do you believe, clearly the person that's saying this is reading something. And if I'm being honest, this whole setup with how the image is there and the bouncing bars are under there, I've seen very similar with someone else speaking regarding Ellen DeGeneres with similar claims of what she had done. I cannot confirm that this is valid, that what we're hearing here actually happened. But I also can't claim that it's not true either.
He used those teeth like weapons. He said the taste and the screaming gave him something no crowd ever could. I met him once in Budapest. I still remember the smell of blood on his breath and that disgusting, satisfied grin. The girls who were sent to him didn't come back the same, if they came back at all. And now we have the Epstein files. Thousands of pages released, but the worst parts are conveniently blacked out.
True.
The most depraved details about him gone. Why? Because they're all protecting each other. Left, right, celebrity, politician. It's all one big club, and they're all members.
That's one thing I can agree with. It doesn't matter if you're a Republican, a Democrat, somewhere in between, a celebrity, someone that's just a very rich person. They are all in the same club.
It's nothing but political theater, while the rest of us are supposed to pretend we can't see the blood. The only scraps they didn't fully erase were the dinner parties. He's listed on multiple ones. That's where Peggy's notes get brutal. She wrote down the stories they were all telling, laughing, bragging about the horrors they committed in Europe like it was just rockstar debauchery. Cannibal talk, torture stories, missing girls, all of it treated like jokes between friends. These people are not human. They are monsters in designer clothes who built empires on our children's bodies. And the world still cheers for him every time he steps on stage. The truth is uglier than any of us imagined, and it needs to come out.
So she stated right there, he's a monster. Every time he steps on stage, everyone cheers for him. This is the same for all of the celebrities that we're hearing his names pulled up in the Epstein files. There are so many names of actors, actresses that I love the movies of, some of my favorite movies of all time, and their names are within this. So it's very difficult for someone to look up to and really love these people to then 20 years later find out all these terrible things that they were supposedly involved in. Of course, nothing has been confirmed, but it's difficult to wrap your brain around.
Some things never change. Springsteen is still supporting communists, and his darkest secrets are still hiding in plain sight. He joined the roster of 6 criminals to endorse Kamala in 2024, a list that includes J-Lo, Diddy, DiCaprio, Ellen, Spielberg, Oprah Winfrey, and Tom Hanks, to name just a few.
I've only got one vote, and it's one of the most precious possessions that I have. That's why I'll be casting my vote for Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. Donald Trump doesn't understand what it means to be deeply American. On the other hand, Kamala Harris and Tim Walz are committed to a vision of this country that respects and includes everyone. That's the vision of America I've been consistently writing about for 55 years.
Now, one thing I want to state here, obviously this is an advertisement. When Harris was running for president, he was in support of that. He was also paid to do this, of course. But it is worth noting that on both sides, Democrat and Republican, whichever way you choose to cast your vote, there are these same people, these same criminals that allegedly did all of these terrible things in relation to Dirty Hollywood and in relation to Epstein. So I don't want anyone to go and say, oh my God, it's the Democratic side that's so evil. It's both sides. There are bad people everywhere, and it's not confined to one party.
The elite are desperate to censor the masses and ban free speech. They want to gain full control over social media, all over again. They're terrified of the truth that's coming out, because they know the public will rise up and tear them from their ivory towers.
So what do you think? Is that enough detail? Is that enough information? Is that enough proof for you to truly believe that Bruce Springsteen is entwined in this Epstein network? Do you think that he is the evil person that this video just stated? This video was from TPV over on Twitter. I'll be linking it down below, as I always do. But if you want to see more about other people that maybe were implicated in the Epstein files, Leonardo DiCaprio maybe, have a look at this video because it takes you right down that dirty story. I'll see you guys over there.